Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Point Blank. I'm your host, reformed bad boy Dryden. Today I am joined by Kuiper. Look at her, so sweet. Hey guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment and leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you. Bye-bye. Today, guys, welcome back. This is a beautiful Friday morning. I hope that I am the best part of your morning, because it is bright and early. Today, I genuinely wanted to leave you guys with something more entertaining, but also still, hopefully, educational. The last podcast was very heavy. We were talking about transgenderism and how disgusting it is and just how much money these doctors are making off of these poor little boys and girls. Mostly girls. I think their surgeries are a little bit more expensive, but today we'll be doing something more entertaining. Like I said, for those of you who don't know, well, I guess none of you know this except maybe my friends on Discord, but I have never seen a single Andrew Tate video. So today I'm going to be reacting with my first impressions ever of Andrew Tate. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to be watching this.
You guys ever get down on your knees and
have you ever
Okay. Here we go.
seen a Chinese person working for someone who wasn't Chinese?
Bro, now that I think about it, I have not.
Not really.
I have not.
Have you ever seen a pregnant Chinese lady?
What the fuck? I haven't.
Have you ever seen a
Okay, what is this supposed to be? I'm sure that there's probably a purpose to this, but I don't really know. Just, he's never seen a Chinese person work for anyone other than a Chinese person, I guess. I don't get why that's such a big deal. That was a short, though. Let's go on. Next one. Okay, this one's a minute long.
Can you believe that chemicals you can buy for $1 that you can't even name?
Okay, pause. For those of you listening, he is sitting on a bed, very relaxed. His feet are up. He is sitting in the bed. He has these emerald viridian green pillowcases. His backboard is a kind of medium tone gray cushion looking backboard with diamond studs where the divots are. And that's really all the impression I got. He's wearing a watch. Okay, let's rewind.
That chemicals you can buy for $1 that you can't even name, 40 or 50 chemicals that you've never heard of, you can't name, you don't know where they come from, all combined to try and taste like fucking watermelon, that you set on fire electronically and inhale deep into your lungs, the most unnatural chemicals you can possibly think of, produced cheaply in China, is dangerous for you? Can you believe that? That if you set all these chemicals you've never heard on fire, from fucking oil and petroleum and fuck knows what. And
that was British. Is he British? He said F knows what. I didn't know. Look, guys, I've never seen a single Andrew Tate video. He's been on my radar for probably a couple weeks now. People kept saying I need to watch him, that he's based, he's like Giga Chad conservative.
and you get it deep into your lungs, it might actually be bad for you. That's incredible. That surprised me like I couldn't believe. I never expected that. I thought, no, surely this unregulated liquid that manages to somehow taste like fucking forest fruits made from literally petroleum. They fucking got it out. What's that thing in school you learn where how they refine oil? What's it called? Fucking that thing.
Something furnace. A lot.
You motherfuckers know. And they put oil in and they get petroleum and kerosene and all these different things. And fucking vape. Vape comes out in the motherfucker.
Do I have to edit this? Oh my goodness. Do I really have to edit this? This is a lot of cussing. I don't know. I'm not really a PG show to begin with, so maybe I could get away with not editing. Is petroleum in vape? What's in vape? Everything you need to know. NBC News. Bum 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 bum. Okay. Oh, I have to allow ads? I'm not doing that. Petroleum product of the week. E-juice. Okay, is this e-cigarette? Electronic cigarette? Propylene glycol. Propylene glycol. It's in your antifreeze, it's in your food, and it's in your vape juice. Bruh. Who writes this crap? Who writes this? It's propylene glycol, or PG, among industry folk in the vaping community. While it may sound a great deal more foreboding than the thicker, sweeter counterpart vegetable glycerin, the second of two base fluids used in vape juice production, this clear, odorless, near flavorless liquid is completely harmless, in parentheses, as far as we know. This product is often the main ingredient in those pesky flavored liquid compounds commonly employed in electronic e-cigarettes, apparatuses, or e-juice for any human being that isn't currently operating as a staff writer for a major online publication. Okay. So there is some sort of petroleum in it, so I guess he's right. So we're 2 videos in. We're 2 Andrew Tate videos in. And so far, he's said that Chinese people don't work for anyone else unless they're Chinese, and vape juice is bad for you. And he was playing at it very sarcastically, but not in a great sarcasm. As a sarcastic expert, I can say that. So far, my initial impression is, why is this guy popular? Maybe there will be better videos soon, but let's keep watching this 3rd video. So this one's a YouTube short, and this says, Top 10 Andrew Tate Quotes. Part 1.
Genuinely, right now, nothing is stopping me from becoming Batman.
When you put your headphones in
Okay.
and you're walking down the street, listening to your music, you are a fucking target.
Any of you watching this video,
Okay.
if you were in the same situation I was in, would be dead. I say with 1,000% confidence, I don't know any other motherfucker alive who could have done what I did yesterday.
What did he do yesterday? I'm so confused. Okay, Andrew Tate, nationality. He's an American-British internet personality and former professional kickboxer. Wow. He began offering paid courses and membership through his website and later rose to fame as an influencer. He's 35 years old. What ethnicity? He's got a black dad and a white mother. Oh, he was raised in England. His dad was a chess international master. Okay. What is this? So he's got his... He lives in Romania. I'm so confused by this guy. Okay, as of right now, I don't see why he's popular.
Let me explain something to you. Do you know whose fault it is that Taliban has reconquered Afghanistan? It's the fault of hoes.
I always park into
Do you know why the Taliban has reconquered Afghanistan? It's because of hoes. I don't agree. I don't agree. I think it's more because I think it's actually a deep state issue. I think Biden left our billions and billions of dollars worth of equipment, including night vision, on purpose so that the Taliban could have it and then resell it to China. That's what I think, though. Call me crazy.
Based. I'm not a bad person, but I'm a quick person. Most people are slow and stupid. I'm fast.
That's enough of that. Here we go. Andrew Tate, funniest moments. This is the 4th video.
Grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex.
What? Wait. Okay. Before I continue. Andrew Tate subscriber count. Let's see. Oh, wait. Wasn't he... I think he was deleted off of YouTube or something. And then he was on Piers Morgan 2 days ago. Okay, we're going to watch that, definitely. Because Piers Morgan is a jerk. Let's continue. What I'm really looking for, guys, what I'm looking for is to see... I know he's conservative, I know he's based, but I want to see if he has any Christian morals.
Little electric, my little plug. Ooh, let me get my little plug and plug it into my Tesla. Maybe I can get an erection one day. Is this the man you are?
These things the left try and present, you have to keep things realistic.
No. Years ago, natural selection and evolution would have taken care of all your fucking retard ancestors, but yet here you are, standing in my face saying you don't eat gluten. Yes, you fucking do.
Only a cat.
Dang. It's kind of facts. Kind of facts. So many people are outliving natural selection these days.
Bitch would complain to the police about a fucking joke. Fine, you're upset you lost your cat. Fair enough, yeah, the joke may have been a little bit, you know, risque. Who calls the police on a fucking joke? Cat owners. Cat owners are liberals. Cat
True.
owners believe in hate speech. Cat owners are Democrats.
True.
Cat owners are dickheads.
Look like a bitch. No, I'm not like these fucking
Wait. He's getting a massage. He's shirtless. He's got a huge tattoo on his chest, and he's getting a massage from this woman wearing a mask. What is going on? There's security cameras in the background of this, and there's a bunch of alcohol on his desk. What is he saying?
fucking mask wearers. No, you're... I walk into hell and the devil's like, oh, I'm gonna burn you. So you ain't gonna do shit. I find myself super funny. I find myself super funny.
He is funny. He's pretty raunchy. He is funny though. Let's see.
Before I came to Valuetainment, this is 3 years ago.
This video is called Men Feel Heartbreak Stronger Than Women. Andrew Tate on how to use emotion to drive yourself. This looks like a more serious video.
Pat said, I want you to read a book. It was called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Stoicism.
Yep.
You've referenced
Okay,
Stoicism.
we're talking about Stoicism?
Multiple times, not getting an emotional, thinking rational.
Yep.
This was a book that you've subscribed to for years. What is it about Stoicism and not getting caught
for those
up
of
in
you who aren't
emotions
watching,
and even triggering
they're
emotions
all smoking cigars,
that resonates
wearing nice
with you?
blazers.
Well, emotions are feedback.
Here's
The
some-
idea that men don't feel emotions is incorrect. We feel emotions. I would actually argue we feel emotions with certain emotions stronger than women.
Okay.
I would argue that we feel heartbreak stronger than women. I would argue we feel anger like a woman could never understand. I would argue we are extremely emotional. Rage, pure rage. Well, it's feedback.
Okay.
So when you get the feedback, it's all about how you internalize it and how you process it, right? It's having stoicism's not feeling emotions. It's feeling the emotion and going, okay, why is this happening? How much does this really matter? What's the most intelligent move on the chessboard?
That's a good point. That's actually a good point. Emotions are feedback. This is I think I've talked about this before in a video about feedback and a little bit differently than relating to emotion, but I think that's actually a very good point, is that emotions are feedback. You do something, there is a consequence that drives you, well, not drives you. The consequence of that is a emotion, whether that's good or bad, and then you can proceed from there. You get that feedback. Now, I've talked about feedback before when it comes to pornography. If you're watching porn, if you're addicted to porn, get the feedback. So every time you relapse, you literally write down, what are the steps that led you to that relapse? Write it down. That is feedback. That is good data. Use that data to your advantage. This is a similar situation. You have an emotion. You're angry, upset, sad, heartbroken. What led to that, and how can you change that? Don't ignore that, and don't suppress it. Obviously, stoicism, keep a brave face, keep a strong face, especially in front of women. Good point.
I'm not even that good at chess, right? My father was a grandmaster. I'm like 1800 ELO. I'm okay. I was a child chess prodigy, but I stopped playing chess professionally when I was like 8. So I'm as good now as I was. In fact, I'm worse now than when I was 8 because I've never taken any lessons or anything properly since because my mother and father broke up. We moved to England. My dad stayed in America. Lost my chess coach, and England didn't have a chess infrastructure. America had a chess infrastructure in the lower income schools. My dad used to go to the ghetto schools because he was black, go to the black schools and teach them how to play chess. So we had a big infrastructure.
Okay.
I peaked at 8, yeah. But chess is a fantastic game because in the game of chess, there's no luck. If you lose, no matter how well you played, if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. Even if it's the most minor mistake, you made a mistake. So you learn to understand that no matter what happens to you, if you lose a scenario, you made a mistake. Maybe it's a tiny one. Maybe it was 2 years ago, whatever, but you made a mistake. And you learn absolute and utter accountability for yourself.
Okay.
And that mentality is extremely powerful to apply to all things in life. The position I'm in now as the most hated man in the world, although I agree and I truly believe it's unfair, I still take complete responsibility for. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm telling you why it happened when I talk about TikTok and YouTube shorts, but I'm not going to blame them. Absolutely. They're a company making money and they're monetizing the best they can. Fantastic. All of this is my fault. But the Bugatti on my drive is my fault. And the yacht is my fault. The private
It's got a Bugatti, private
so
jet.
it's all my fault. So I take the good with the bad. I take all responsibility for absolutely everything, including.
He also called himself the most hated man in the world, and I just don't agree. Maybe he thinks so. Maybe he's the most hated man on the internet right now by leftists and liberals and women. But there's men way more hated than he is.
Including if a woman leaves me, if a woman stays, if I end up heartbroken, if I end up filled with rage, I take responsibility for that. If something happens to me that makes me enraged, I will take responsibility. Why has this happened to me? Why do I feel this way? How did I end up in this position? Is this healthy in this scenario?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is. I've had scenarios in my life where I was prepared to die to protect somebody else.
He keeps bringing, this is the second time he's talked about preparing to die. Or that if we were in his situation, we would have been dead. I want to know who, actually, I've heard this before, guys. I've heard before that MMA fighters or boxers or whoever will get into fights all the time because people want to prove that outside the ring they can beat them. So there's just a bunch of MMA fighters going around on edge because somebody wants to fight them at any given moment.
I was enraged and it was healthy. I've also had times where I'm in a room by myself, enraged, sitting there going, this is no good for anybody. I need to just calm the fuck down. Mm-hmm. So emotions are feedback, but stoicism is the ability to process them. And that's what you need to learn as a man. You're never going to be able to turn them off. You're going to feel them. You have to learn how to process them and turn them into a positive. It's energy. It's unlimited energy. I say this all the time. I say that the biggest periods of transformation in my life is when everything was going wrong. True. When my life was going good, I'm not a hedonistic person. I don't do drugs. I don't gamble. Good. I don't do prostitutes. I don't do anything that hedonistic. But I'll certainly go on the yacht with a bunch of women I know and chill and have some vodkas and that kind of thing. When life's smooth, then it's semi-hedonistic, pretty relaxed. But when I make my biggest progress, when I really change who I am and change the world, that's when everything's fucked. When things go wrong, or I'm...
You know, I think that's a good point. I'm going to make this biblical because that's what I do here. Abraham, the patriarch of our faith, didn't get his promised son until he was 100. Keep in mind, Abraham means great father of many. And he had 0 children. And he finally gets his son, his heir, that was promised to him when he was 100 years old. And then God tells him to sacrifice him on an altar, his little baby boy. So this is a good point. There's a lot of growth that happens when there are tough times. You know, we have this common phrase, tough times create tough men create good times create weak men create tough times. It's the same thing.
Feeling things I don't want to feel or bad things are happening. That's when I'm like, okay, I currently cannot sleep. I've completed the day's tasks. I've tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. More shit has to get done. That's when the amazing things happen in my life. When I was heartbroken, everyone's been heartbroken. I can't remember a specific example. I hit the gym harder, right? If something goes wrong with your payment processor, that's when you get fucking inventive. That's business, right? That's when you get inventive. So all the bad things that happen to you as a man, if you're stoic, you get to take unlimited energy. Heartbreak is unlimited energy. So is depression. So is rage. So is sadness. All these negative emotions they tell you to collapse
unlimited
behind.
Stuff.
It's like people talk like Bruce Lee says, be like water. And people see that as be fluid and just go with the flow. I disagree. If you're like water, you're necessary for life. You are scary when you're enraged. You're powerful. You're beautiful when you're calm. You're so many.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson talks about that all the time. He says, be a monster, but learn how to control it. All the time. Andrew Tate, as of right now, just seems like a guy who has listened to a lot of Jordan Peterson, read a couple books, lived the life, but his life doesn't seem that envious, honestly. He's 35, not married, no kids. Not that enthralling to me.
Things when you're like water, right? So if I'm enraged, it's like water behind a dam. You just got to put the dam in place, and you got to get the turbo, the hydroelectrics put in. Don't tsunami your life. Put the energy somewhere. And this is the most beautiful thing about it, because people message me all the time like, oh, but Tate, you don't know how sad I feel. No, incorrect. I know exactly how sad you feel. Difference is I used it. And you're sitting here still crying, some random guy on email for the fucking 3rd month in a row. That's the difference between you and me, my friend. I was becoming a world champion kickboxer. I got to a point, people often talk to me about depression and say I don't understand it. I will say, listen, there's been times in my life where I was fully functional as an adult. I would never label myself depressed because I don't believe in the idea of labeling myself in a negative because I don't believe in things that take power from me, which we'll talk about in a second. But there's been times in my life where I didn't give a fuck if I lived or died.
He was so close to saying something so based, but he chose not to. He said that he doesn't tell himself negative things. He doesn't let negative things rule over him. That's good. But he could have just said what we're all thinking, that depression doesn't exist. And when I say depression doesn't exist, I talk about the depression that all of these 16-year-old girls have where they're sad about something. That's not depression. There is, every once in a while, extreme depression that people have, and it's serious, but not depression as people are calling it. That doesn't exist. I'm kind of done with this video. Let's go on to the next one. This one's been way too long. This one's 37 seconds. This should be good.
I don't think most women can actually genuinely understand how lonely the majority of men are.
True.
And you need to truly understand, if you're Joe Schmo, average in nearly every way, in Starbucks working, you ain't getting a DM ever. You girls will never be lonely.
True.
As much as you might be unhappy with the possible suitors, you can at least fuck about and flirt if you feel sad. There are men out here in the world who have genuine loneliness. And I can prove this statistically.
Why is Oceans
Why do
playing
you think
in the
it's
background?
all the men killing themselves compared to the women?
That was good. That was actually really good. Everything he said, so good. And it's true. Men are lonely, guys. Look, women have this gift bestowed onto them, which is that when women are lonely or sad, they have other girls in their life that they can cuddle up with, eat cookie dough, cry. They can give each other hugs. There's all this physical affection. Guys don't get that. Single guys don't get that. For those of us who are blessed enough to have good friends, we'll get some emotional help. We won't feel as lonely. But as far as physical affection goes, guys don't really do that. And I know there's this huge push. It's this modern push for guys to be soft and cry and feel things and just be mushy. That's pathetic. It's pathetic. Guys need to be stronger. How often does it say in the Bible, be strong, for I'm with you? I think this is true. Guys, I think on average, generally, big sweeping blanket statement, are more lonely than women are. Women are always getting attention, even the ugly one, even the ugly girls, because men are visual driven creatures. So even the ugly girls, there is some guy out there who's willing to flirt with them or go after them. Because from an evolutionary perspective, and I don't even believe in evolution, men have to reproduce. That is why men don't get periods where they're horny. Men are just always horny. Men are always ready to go. Women have periods. Women have to be in the right moment. They have to have an egg ready to go, but men don't. That is what drives population, which is a direct command from God when he says, multiply, fill the earth, have dominion over it. So women, they're not going to be as lonely as men are. Men are going to be lonely. I personally, Dryden Joss, host of Point Blank podcast. When was my last genuine hug? It was probably to my mom, maybe a couple weeks ago. And I don't say that for you to feel sorry for me, but that's just the truth. That's just how it is. Even a guy as good looking and handsome and funny and charismatic and awesome and smart and intelligent and as sexy as I am, not a lot of action on this end. And that's okay. So I'm going to be like Andrew Tate and take this emotion, read it as data, and then push myself further. That's why I'm on the grind. That is why I'm doing 3 podcasts a week for you guys to be entertained, educated, and enabled with God's word. Let's continue to Piers Morgan.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world.
Oh, okay.
Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally
Wait. Let's not jump too far ahead on mental illness. That's actually a very good point. But I think it's biblically inaccurate. The woman isn't property of the man. She's a partner of the man, but a submissive partner. And it's because women sinned first, not man. So the responsibility is transferred from the dad to the new husband, not necessarily ownership.
Controversial.
I don't believe in depression.
True.
Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, this summer, every major social media platform
point.
banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who
He's
watch
been
it.
banned on
But
pretty much
copies of his
everything.
videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full
does live in
explosive
Romania.
interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely.
Wait. I don't want to see what's to come. I want to just see the video. Let's go here.
It's also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up.
I don't even know if I would necessarily put it that way, but it's honestly facts. Younger girls are more attractive because, one, they're more fertile. Women age like milk, men age like wine. That's just how it is. Sorry, God made us to work it out together. But girls, you know, pushing 30s, that's the no-no zone. They're not going to be as fertile. You're not going to have as many kids. And he has a good point. Older women have, most likely in this current culture, even statistically Christian women, I think it's like 70% of proclaimed Christian women are currently sleeping around. That is not attractive. That is not the optimal choice in a partner, in a spouse. Frankly, it's debased and disgusting. It's gross.
That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19.
They are infinitely less desirable, and we should bring that back. We should shame this sexual debauchery. Ask yourself right now, genuinely, who would you rather have sex with? A woman who has had sex with 50 different men. 50. Or would you rather have sex with a woman who's had 10 different men? Or would you rather marry a virgin? Biblically, that's how it's supposed to be. It says it in the very beginning of Genesis that a man is supposed to leave his parents and be married to his wife. And the two will become one flesh. When you have sex, when you have intercourse, you are becoming one flesh in God's eyes. And that is a very serious thing, because the marriage covenant biblically is imagery for what Christ and the church is. Christ and the body of the church are married. And in Ephesians 5, God is presenting the church as holy and blameless. So if you are going into a marriage not as a virgin, there is redemption, of course, in Jesus Christ. You used to be sexually immoral, 1 Corinthians 6:9, but now you're not. You've been washed and cleaned in the... But it's not preferred. And we are totally okay in saying that it's not misogynistic. We need to bring back this sexual shaming for men and women.
Year olds and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Oh my gosh,
ageist,
Pierce.
perhaps, but misogynistic, absolutely
Is that
not.
but you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
But if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that
This-
I am sorry that
True.
that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't
and-
mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large
Yeah, why
contingent of
should
the
he
world
be
that
sorry?
believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That is not true, because there are parts in the U.S. where that is unacceptable, particularly in Reformed churches, conservative churches. That is remarkably bad behavior. But those women are still free to do whatever they want because we live in the United States of America. Piers, that is a straw man. That is not a good argument, Piers.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not
to
allowed
have.
to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of
That has nothing to
world
do.
for women that you
I was mediating.
applaud?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an
Is
excuse.
that there are
No, he's
parts of
not.
the world where this is fine?
My
So
friend.
my question to you is,
Oh my gosh, Piers, shut up. Oh my
well,
goodness.
do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what?
Piers, you're British.
With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist.
It's
and
not
even though that's a
misogynist.
view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect...
Here's why it's not misogynist. Is it sexist to say that attractive men at 25 are more attractive than 35 or 55 or 65? No, because you're not anti-men. You're just simply stating a fact, which is biologically true, that younger men are more attractive because they're more physically fit. They're more prone to being handsome, less wear on their body. This isn't sexist. This isn't misogynistic, Pierce, you idiot. Shut up.
More if you said that.
Yeah.
Than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think you
That
need,
doesn't tell me what you think.
then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth, then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts
is.
of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression and become a much more serious depressive illness. And she's
Okay,
very
why are 14-year-olds on social media? I mean, we're bringing up stupid arguments. Just dumb arguments. Why is a 14-year-old girl on social media? That is a place where mental illness and self-abuse just festers up. That is not a good place to be. I've got a book on this right now. I've been rereading this book. Get it out for you real quick. You know, I mean, let me find this real quick. Let's see. Maybe I'm not going to find it as fast as I wanted to, but it talks about self-harm and how it's just increased exponentially because of social media. Yeah, right here. Between 2009 and 2017, so nearly 10 years, the number of high schoolers who contemplated suicide increased 25%. The number of teens diagnosed with clinical depression grew 37% between 2005 and 2014. In the worst hit, experiencing depression at a rate 3 times of that boys were teenage girls. So right now, at a rate of 3 times more, girls are more depressed than boys. Average rates of self-harm reflect the same spike, an increase of 62% since 2009 among all teenage girls. Among preteen girls aged 10 to 14, rates of self-harm are up 189% since 2010, nearly triple what they were only 6 years before. And it is not because of Andrew Tate. And if you want to know what book that's from, this is called Irreversible Damage by Abigail Schreier. And that is in chapter 1, I believe. So self-harm for 10 12-year-olds to 14-year-old girls is up 189%. And Piers Morgan has the audacity to say that it's Andrew Tate. It is not Andrew Tate's fault. Andrew Tate reminds me a lot right now of Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace. We need more Kevin Samuels. We need more Andrew Tates. As long as Andrew Tate is Christian, I'm okay with that. But he's for a worldly guy, for a secular guy, as of right now, I'm very impressed.
He sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father.
That's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality.
What does that have to do with Andrew Tate?
First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is the world we live in. The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So
that's totally okay. You know, there's some things that I've said before on TikTok. I mean, I have 25,000 followers on TikTok. There's a lot of things I'd probably say differently. We're all growing. We're all learning. What happens is the left is relentless and doesn't let anyone grow. Never apologize. So Andrew Tate's right here. He's got some things that he might say differently.
That's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. Mm-hmm. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
I think that's a good point. He's got a good point. Andrew Tate here is not the problem. There's people with larger audiences that are more impactful on a younger audience. It's way more detrimental. Probably like Kim Kardashian, who got famous for making a sex tape that was chosen. She made multiple sex tapes, and the one that they used to make her famous was chosen by her mother. So that's one person. Pete Davidson, another gross guy, probably with way more influence. He doesn't really say influential things, but people watch his life, and it's probably influential. Those are two off the top of my head I can think of right now. There's definitely a lot more. People just living terrible lives. I think Andrew Tate, good guy. My final answer. We've watched all the videos. My final thing I'll say. Andrew Tate, I think, has a lot of good points. He reminds me of a more... how do I want to say this? Blunt. A more... I don't know what word. He's not very distinguished. He's not like Jordan Peterson, very soft-spoken, caring man. But he does care, and I can tell he cares. He's got a lot of good points, even though he cusses a lot. That's kind of the alpha male vibe. Am I necessarily going to watch him? No. I don't really feel the need to watch him. I can watch or listen to Christian creators, Christian influencers, and that would be way more beneficial because we could bring scripture into this. But if someone said, hey, Dryden, do you want to watch this Andrew Tate video? I wouldn't decline. I think it would be okay. So that's my review of Andrew Tate. That's my first impressions. Let's get on right now to the comment section. This dog is freaking out, guys. Oh my goodness. Kuiper, come here. Come here. All right, Kuiper, let's read these comments together. Libzer Warheit says, let us pray for all transgender people and that they accept God's love to us humans in Jesus Christ. Yes, amen. As always, great video, Dryden. Keep up the good fight for the truth. We will win together. In Jesus Christ, victory is ours. Wish everyone a blessed day. Thank you so much for the nice comment. That is absolutely true. And I'm never going to stop fighting for the truth, because quite frankly, I can't think of anything better to do as a young man. Ronnie Millsap says, I used to have a small bone to pick, but you're so honest and easy to chat with when questioned, unless you think we're trolling, that I realize you are truly a child of God that wants the best for us all. Regardless of what we're going through, I see God's love through you. You inspire me to be a better follower of Christ. You also inspire me not to get caught up in pointless arguments. Just say the truth and leave it at that. Yeah, don't waste your time with silly arguments. You know, if someone wants to have a genuine chat, I'm always up for that. You know that, guys. But if not, leave me alone. DB says, America is finished. Okay. Okay. Let's see. And it looks like that's all the comments we have today. So I'm going to end it here. We're running, right on time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Huge thanks to our patrons. Because of you, this show is possible. So thank you so much for your donations. And just thank you guys. Also, if you haven't already, please join the Discord. Link in the description below. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Join the conversation by sharing this podcast with your friends. And leave what you think about Andrew Tate. Now we are going to get on to the exclusive content for the Patreons only. So if you want to see that content right now, please join the Patreon. Otherwise, I will see you all later. Goodbye.